going. This hangout on air is live. We are alive, folks. Periscopers, you'll be in real time, or Google Hangouters will be a little behind the times. So, here we go. Copy of moderator's duties. Yes, I said duties. Here we go. Start the recording of the session. I did that. Check. Introduce yourself as the moderator. Hi, I'm the moderator. Welcome everyone to the Phys Ed Summit from SB Chat. All right, so again, this is an offshoot of the Phys Ed Summit 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. This is like Phys Ed Summit 3.1, 3.15 maybe. So again, the SB Chat fellas got together and said, hey, the Phys Ed Summit said, let's keep this alive. So they decided to put one on. So here we go. We are doing the SB Chat. I believe there's 8 to 10 of these running tonight and tomorrow, all at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So if you do not like public speaking or you know all about public speaking, go check out some of the other ones. This summit is designed for elementary physical education and providing quality physical education for every child. Well, we're doing public speaking, so that's for everybody. They're an offshoot we already talked about. We are thankful for this is the Phys Ed Summit. We're thankful for their leadership, for developing the summit through their guidance and helping develop it. All right. Remind people we're relying on technology. If something doesn't work, please tell me. All right, we are good. Who is Jacqueline? Do you have headphones? I'd put headphones in.
Okay.
That would help if we could do that. All right, and I think we're almost done. All this stuff. Tell the audience session's about. All right, public speaking. Here we go. And if you look, let me see if I can do this bad boy. Rocking out the periscope at the same time. We will go here, flip the camera, and bangerang. You don't want to see that. You want to see this. So Amanda, can you please tell us who you are, what you're about, and why you agreed to come on?
All right, I am Amanda Rogers. I teach 3rd grade in Weatherford. I'm all about innovative learning, innovative spaces, all that greatness, and of course I'm all about Justin Schleider.
Nice. All right, and this is a lady who I've never met before, but you look like you're kind. Jacqueline, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome. My name is Jacqueline Rose. I teach 5th grade at Austin Elementary in Weatherford, and I got dragged into this by Amanda and by her just constantly advertising how awesome you are. So obviously I had to be a part of this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So, do we know what tonight is about? Jacqueline, did she tell you what was going on for tonight?
Yes, she did. A little bit.
A little bit. All right.
Yeah.
So then we decided to do public speaking, and here we go. Jerry Seinfeld tells a joke about people having a greater fear of public speaking than death. So he says most people at a funeral would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. Any thoughts on that? Amanda?
Oh, absolutely. That was so me. Probably 6 months ago. I didn't like speaking in front of people. I'm still very hesitant until I get to know you. But even today, I did a workshop with 36 teachers, and I was a little nervous getting up there and speaking to them. So I can totally relate to that.
And now, if this is a teacher of the year, and she's nervous talking in front of a group of people, then you know that it's a little more prevalent than we would think. Because we always assume that teachers are comfortable talking in front of groups of people because that's what we do all the time. However, talking in front of children is a little different than adults sometimes, and especially your peers. Jacqueline, anything to add?
Yes, public speaking can definitely be scary, especially because there's no pause button, there's no rewind. Once you say it, it's out there. So if you mess up or if you express a thought incorrectly, it's out there and it can be manipulated, and there's no black and white hard evidence of that. So that thought can be very overwhelming for some people.
Absolutely. All right, we have one more quote, and then we'll get going with some questions. Here we go. This says, Michael Port, who's an author and public speaker, he states, all speaking is public speaking. Jacqueline, any thoughts on that quote?
Yes, I agree. All speaking is public speaking, because you are still putting your thoughts and you're putting yourself out there for whatever audience that is, whether it's yourself in the mirror or a class or an audience at a training. You are still putting yourself out there. So regardless of the situation, if you are interacting with people by speaking, then it's public speaking.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. If there's interaction, public, done. Ms. Rogers, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't know. Wouldn't it be private speaking if you're talking to yourself in the mirror? Or like if I'm just
What
talking.
if you're in a bathroom, a public bathroom?
Oh, if you're in a public bathroom, then that just takes it up a notch. But like if I'm talking to one of you guys on Boxer and it's just between you and I, that's not public. That'd be privately speaking. And I
I don't know.
people, and my dialogue changes to who I'm
True.
talking to.
Ah, now you're getting into code switching here, Miss Rogers. Code switching, absolutely. So, my opinion, boom, look at that, Periscope. Yes, my opinion, I agree with Jacqueline that any speaking is public speaking for me. If you're doing it out loud, it's public speaking. I know code switching, absolutely right. You definitely change the way you speak, but if anyone could see you, including yourself, I would consider that public speaking. But that's just me. And again, Miss Rogers always making me think. I love it. So here we go. Oh, I think it's time for our first brain boost. Are we ready for this, people? All right. Why are you smiling, Amanda? You ready? All right. So again, these brain boosts tonight are from Mike Kazala's book, The Kinesthetic Classroom, and I hope I'm saying your last name correctly, Mike. So there's about 6 of them we will be doing. First one says, write your last name in the air with the top of your head. So if you are at home, please stand up. I'll be doing this. I know it's kind of silly. I'll put the screen on me so it doesn't look so bad. Stand up. We're back, and I have to write my last name at the top of my head. So Schleider. All right.
I did the version. It went quicker.
That is a quick brain boost. So again, I know Miss Tammy Neal did that today in her class. All these are courtesy of Mike Kazala, Kinesthetic Classroom. Please get that book. There's over 200 examples of brain boosts in there for tests, to learn through movement, to learn with movement, to learn about movement. The dude's absolutely fantastic. So next up we have, boom, question 1 right out of the box. Hard one. Amanda, how do you connect to yourself? How do you connect to yourself to connect? How do you get yourself connected with your audience? How do you get what it is that who you are in with your audience? How do you get them to feel who you are, to get who you are, to really pick up what you're putting down as an individual?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I think to tell them who you are, introduce yourself, do some type of like icebreaker, getting to know you. Tell them something funny about you to make it where you're not just this Stepford wife, model, and that you're a real person.
All right. Jacqueline, what do you have to add to this?
I definitely agree with Amanda. Don't be afraid to show that imperfect side of yourself. I think transparency is key, especially when you're trying to get maybe people who either aren't fond of an idea that you're trying to express or they're unsure of kind of where you're coming from. I think transparency is very important in that, to show them that you don't have a hidden agenda, that for example, if it's a training, that you're just trying to inform and help.
Absolutely. And for me, I'm going to say I like connecting through the basics, through the really basic of humanity. So we all eat. We all go to the bathroom. If you read my wonderful blog, Toilets, the Great Connector, all right, that's about there. So basically, we all do certain things together, and if you could connect any of those things that we all do, you'll be able to make an emotional connection with the audience. So I like humor, which Charles Cooper has a whole thing on how humor and public speaking go hand in hand. So again, for me, it's let's get to the basics of humanity. We all breathe, we all eat, we all do certain things. How can we talk about that? How can we bring it up? And you'd be amazed. You guys laugh. Potty humor. It works. All right. Next up, question dose. How do we make sure our audience are participants? I love that one. And I should because I came up with the questions. So, Jacqueline, let's go with you. How do you get your audience to participate with you?
Oh, your mic's on, Jacqueline.
Are we
Okay,
on?
are we good? Can you hear me? All right. I think that you pretty much do exactly that. You make sure it's not an audience. You're not talking at anybody. You are engaging them, whether it's students or whether it's a conversation. Nobody likes it to be one-sided. People want to feel important, whether they're 5 years old or 900 years old. They want their ideas to be heard. They want to feel special. So if you are doing some sort of public speaking, you do want to engage and pull them in and let them know that what they have to say is important also.
True. Everybody does want to feel special. Some of our kids feel that a little worse than others. Yo, look who is here. It's Sarah, the teacher, folks.
Sarah, are you driving?
Sarah,
Yep.
Sarah, how do you get your audience to be participants?
Oh, she muted
Oh,
herself.
there we go. Okay, I unmuted myself. Hey, everybody. All right. So the way that I would like to involve the audience is I try to get them doing stuff like, let's create something together, be it a Google Doc or, just create something together. I'm really fond of that.
Love it. Crowdsourcing anything by far. Get them involved, get their knowledge, ask them cool stuff. A. Rogers.
What's up? How do I get them involved? Yeah, definitely. Like engaging them, asking them questions, letting them share out, answer. Like Jacqueline was saying, letting them feel value in what they're saying as well. So making sure to let them kind of teach what you're teaching to, share their piece.
Yeah, and again, that overused guide on the side kind of thing. Even when we're up in front of the group, we don't always have to be the expert in the room. We could be a leader, but I guarantee you, if I'm talking about a subject, somebody in that room has some sort of knowledge about it coming in before it. Like, for instance, public speaking. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to be the foremost expert. We could ask, what do you know about it? So I think that's a good one. Another one to get them participating, brain boosts. If we get them up and moving, we get their attention back. And I think that's huge because, 5-7 minutes, that's what we have. And then, the phones come out. You're looking at Twitter. You're looking at everything else, which is funny because that brings us to our next brain boost. Look at this. Here we go. Write your favorite animal in the air with your right elbow. So we're going to stand up.
Sarah can't do this though.
No, Sarah, you're driving. Relax. So right here, my favorite animal. What's my favorite animal? Let me go giraffe. All right. So remember, people, these are brain boosts from Mike Cazales, the Kinesthetic Classroom. It is the best, I don't know, $15, $20 I spent. There's 200 different exercises. These are just some of them. Jacqueline, what did you pick? What was your favorite animal? Did you do a dog? Because you have a dog right behind you. What is your dog's name?
Lola is one of them, and they're trying real hard to make a guest appearance, real hard. I don't know if you can see, I'm constantly covered in a nice thick coating of dog hair, always, but that's okay. So yes, mine was a dog.
They're bulldogs?
Yeah, well, one of them is, yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I have 2 shepherds. I love
Oh,
dogs.
cute
All right.
puppies.
Ms. Rogers, what was your favorite animal? What did you do with your right elbow?
Dog, you know this. Of course
Oh,
it's a dog.
Sarah, if you were not driving, what would you have picked for your favorite animal?
I probably would have gone with koala.
Koala. I wouldn't even know how to spell koala. That was my problem. I did giraffe, and I wanted to make sure I knew how to spell it. Because giraffes, they're just such pretty animals. Long eyelashes. They're just
Can you
wonderful.
spell it for us, please?
All right. So that brings us up to next question. Let's see what the next question is. Oh, getting back to two, how do you connect with your audience? We check in with them. That were a couple. I wrote some notes here. Are they getting it? Do you have questions? Back channeling. That's a huge one, too. That way we can answer them in real time instead of waiting. Do you have something to add or amplify? Wonderful. Oh, this was a good one. Getting participants talking to one another. That's always a classic. You know, the turn and talk. And if we can, the turn and walk. I like that one. We use that in our class a lot. The turn and walk or the walk and talk. So again, you're learning all kinds of brain boosts tonight here, people. Here we go. Number 3, rapid fire. I hope you're ready. Agree or disagree. Show first, tell later. It's far easier for humans to relate to experiences than concepts. A. Rogers, you're on.
All right. Yeah, I definitely agree to show and not tell, especially with students. Well, with anybody, but especially with students. They're so much more engaged if you're showing them something and you're in it with them. If you're immersed in the content with them and showing instead of up there telling them how to do something. And that kind of doesn't make sense. Like, we're not told how to drive, we're shown how to drive. And then we drive with an instructor. So I definitely think show before tell.
Nice. Jacqueline, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I think that experiences are what teach us. Definitely not a concept, because I could say a concept and I could try to get people or students to understand that, but ultimately they're going to learn it differently, and they all have different background experiences. So I think the experiences are the way to go, and it's how the students are going to make it theirs.
How do you create experiences? How do you create that? How do you show them?
Well, that's really up to the students. I would turn to them and say, this is what we have to learn. How would you guys like to learn this? And spin that so that they crash that lesson and they can tell me what to do. And they come up with better stuff than I can come up with, because they ultimately know themselves and know how they're going to learn better than I can, especially at this point early in the year where we're still getting to know each other. It also, I think, shows that trust where you want to engage your listener or your students. So I found that they love that, and it helps build those lessons that they actually are invested in.
Yeah, definitely. Student voice, student choice, huge. We could say this is what we want to work on. How do you think we could practice it? And then we go around and we can help them if they are struggling in certain areas. That's great. Good point, Jacqueline. Sarah, the teacher.
All right, all right. Well, in my district, then we have a lesson plan called the 5 E's. I don't know if that is in other areas as well, but you start kids off with an engagement activity where they have to go through and kind of find out the answer for themselves, and then you come back and you explain it. And I mean, in my experience, that seems to work a lot better than telling them and then letting them like go in and do it. But your question also kind of reminded me of Simon Sinek and the Golden Circle. And the way to kind of get people to buy into something is to start with the why. So why is it important? Why does it pertain to me? So definitely that would go to showing them rather than telling them. You save the what for last. So yeah, that would be my answer for that one.
Nice. So it's almost like an inquiry-based learning.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's what they had in mind. We've been using it for a while, probably since I started teaching. But yeah, it's pretty engaging. I like it.
I like that. So again, for going back to the why, I love it. When iPods first came out, you had everybody and MP3 players. Well, the MP3 players were 2 gigabytes, something like that. But iPods held 10,000 songs. That right there got me. Well, I know I can have 10,000 songs on there. I need that. I want 10,000 songs. 2 gigs, I don't even know what 2 gigs is. How many songs is that? Why do I need 2 gigs in my life? So again, Apple does a great job of the why there. Probably one of the reasons why they're the best in the world. Anyone have any follow-ups on that?
What? Apple's the best in the world?
Well, I mean, making the most money if you want to argue with it, but they're the best at selling themselves. We could definitely say that. Correct? Do you argue with that?
No.
All right. So before we get on the whole Apple Droid and everything else thing, let's go. What time is it? Oh, it's time for our next brain boost. You're absolutely correct, people. Did you see that coming? I did too. All right, here we go. Write your best friend's name in the air with your left elbow. So best friend's name in the air with your left elbow. Here we go. I'm going to use his nickname. All right.
Trooper did it with his paw.
And look at that, getting it done. Jacqueline, who is your best friend?
My best friend was Audra, one of my old school friends from the olden days.
I like it. Sarah, who is your bestie?
Well, I kind of like flap my arm like a chicken because I'm holding on to the steering wheel. But my bestie is Akila, so shout out to Akila.
Akila, is she a teacher?
She is. She teaches pre-K.
Oh, Akila, I couldn't. If you paid me $1 million, I wouldn't do that job. That is tough. Pre-K is tough.
Oh, yeah.
Amanda, who is your best friend? What was his name?
Oh, Trooper, my dog, he picked his other best friend, Max, the other dog that is barking right now.
Nice. Well, we can't hear him, so no worries. All right, here we go. So what do I have over here? Aha. This one says, point number 4, if you are following along at home. Give up your need to look good, and you will look good. What and when we share should always be informed by the question, will what I share further the group's goals and support my intention? So I'm going to say that again. When you ask something, when you're sharing something, this is what we should have in mind. Will what I'm sharing further the group's goals and support my intention? Now I'll start on this one. I have been in a ton of public speaking where the speaker either goes off on a tangent because they're nervous, I don't know what. I'm sitting there going, what in the hell does this have to do with what we're talking about? And it doesn't matter where we are, PD, sitting in a room, whatever it is that you're talking. You ever just look at somebody else while somebody's talking and just go, what are they doing? How is this important to me? So again, this one to me is huge. Stay on, because if you do, you lose me. I mean, you lose me quick anyway, but that's one of the best ways. Jacqueline, have you ever been in a situation where this has happened to you and somebody is saying something and you're just looking at the speaker going, why did you say that? What's the point of this?
Yes, definitely. I think that some people just really enjoy the sound of their own voice. So that might get in the way of, like you said, benefiting the group. And then also, my crazy mad ADD sometimes jumps in, and I'll start talking about stuff, and I'll have to catch myself in the middle of a sentence thinking, how did I get here? So, and I don't like the sound of my own voice. So I don't know, maybe it's not intentional, maybe it's just something sparkly or like a squirrel walked by. So that definitely has happened before, but I have to be sympathetic towards those people because I have been in that situation as well where I think, how did I get here in this conversation flow?
Now, what grade do you teach?
5th grade.
Now, are your students smart enough to try to get you to go off topic now? Do they purposely try to get you to go in squirrel mode?
No, they recognize squirrel mode, and we have processes set in place for squirrel mode, and it's actually called squirrel mode. and they know, Miss Rose, let's get on back here. Let's get on back. So yeah, they're well aware and they are prepped for it. They don't even need me.
Oh, that's classic. Sarah, I know you're an ADHD person. How do you avoid squirrel mode?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to say that it's a lot easier in real life than on Voxer for some reason. I don't even know. But but I would say like a lot of it might come from nervousness, and a good way to kind of get away from the nerves is by focusing more so on the audience than on yourself. Like, because if you keep telling yourself I'm feeling nervous, then you're just going to get more and more nervous. But if you just focus on the audience, and I'll take some of the nerves off, and I'll take away some of the rambling. And the second thing that I read one time in an article was the fact that at a lot of these PD sessions, you have a friendly audience. Like, they want you to be interesting. They want to like you. So if you keep those things in mind, then it tends to go a lot more smoothly and a lot less nervous rambling going on.
Very true. And Voxer, I do it too. That stream of consciousness, you click the button, and then next thing you know, you're looking down, and a minute has gone by, and you're like, what is going on? All right, Amanda, what is going on with you? How do you avoid squirrel mode?
I know that everything I tell y'all on Voxer, even if it's in like 27 messages, is really important. So I don't know what y'all are talking about. No. But yes, on Voxer especially, for instance, like this morning with Justin and Sarah and the group we're in, I did like 6 messages and then they were all just random. So no one had a chance to respond to the first one because I was at the 6th one by the time anyone had time to respond. But in person, I don't really get off topic because, like I said, I'm not much of a public speaker. So I'm more feed off of the audience and try to get the audience talking, so I do less of the talking and more of the showing instead of telling. But I do have a question for Sarah. Sarah, when you do presentations that are where you're on a stage and the audience isn't necessarily interacting with you, how do you know that they're engaged, and how does that change public speaking when you don't have an audience to necessarily interact with?
Ooh, that's a good question, Amanda. Well, oh my goodness, I'm hearing myself, I'm sorry. Of the presentations that I've done that have been more so like keynote or ignites, then they've generally been very, very short, like 3 to 5 minutes. And the keynote that I did was interactive, and the next keynote that I'm planning to do is also going to be interactive. So I'm going to bring a little bit of my comfort zone into the discomfort, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. So yes, I'm the same way. I get in squirrel mode a little more in health than I do in phys ed. I tell the kids 3 to 5 minutes. That's the longest I will be talking. If you're quiet, I'll go over, and we'll go from there, and we'll put you out. So I try not to talk for long periods of time. Although, if I have to, I don't want to say reprimand them. If I have to talk about behavior, meaning respect, about not talking when I'm talking, then I start to ramble a little bit, just to let them understand what it could be like in class if I sat up there and talked. And then some of the kids are like, are we going to get back to class anytime soon? I'm like, no. Now you understand. All right. It is 8:31, so that means it's time for our next brain boost. Here we go. Write what you had for breakfast. If you can't remember, do dinner with your right hip. Ooh. What did I have for breakfast? Oh, yogurt. All right, so I'll leave this up here. All right, come back. And I'm going to write.
That was a lot tougher.
Yeah, that was not there. All right, let me see what's going on. I have my Periscope. Periscope people, I apologize. I downloaded the iPhone version of it, so I can't see comments on here. I'm not a very...
Hold on, could you back up? Because you're not using an Android, you can't see the comments? That's unfortunate.
No, if I downloaded the iPad one, it would have been fine.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yes, I know. That's why I like you.
You can see comments on the iPhone version. like the people that type in and ask questions. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Yeah, you can see it on your Periscope if you go to your settings and then you just click to where you can allow comments. Like if you slide it, you'll see a hide chat option, and just unclick that, and then people can comment.
See, slide it over. Show chat. Click.
Yeah.
I did, but I'm on my iPhone, so I don't know. I'm not aware. Or I'm on my iPod. No, iPad. But I downloaded the iPhone app. I'm not that bright, so I apologize to people.
Okay.
All right. Next up.
That sounds like an eye mess.
It does. I'm the mess. It's not the eye. All right. How do we use video to increase your comforts? Again, how to use video to increase your comforts. We'll let Ms. Rogers go first.
Okay, so like pre-record, maybe you're more comfortable videoing yourself, and like with students sending it out as a flipped lesson, or even with a workshop. If you know ahead of time the people's emails, sending certain things out, or having videos ready that you just click on, if that's how you're more comfortable doing it.
True. Ms. Jack.
I might have not answered right.
No, it's about any kind of video. If you're approaching it as a teacher, a flip video is great. So you don't have to stand in front of the class. I agree with that 100%. Here, don't listen to me talk. Watch it on your thing. Put your headphones on, and then if you get confused, just go back and listen to it again, or stop it, rewind it. No, that was spot on. Ms. Jacqueline?
I don't really use a lot of video when I'm preparing to speak, or unless it's something like Amanda was talking about with the flipped lesson, I use that. But screencasting or any kind of a voice recording when I'm doing something online or filming a tutorial using a screen capture program, that definitely makes me aware of the rambling and the random thoughts and the squirrel chasing, and thank the good Lord above, it lets you edit and cut out parts. So it makes you realize the parts that you do need to include, and kind of give you a run through, so that if you're talking about it in class or if you're approached by it, you have a more clear sense of what you need to say.
Nice. Ms. Sarah, what do you use videos for?
Yeah, I do a lot of flipped and blended instruction as well. I would like to try to integrate them more into public speaking, because I think that if you have a really good example of something that you're talking about, like for example, if I'm talking about the kids making a flip video or something, like if they're flipping for each other and I want to show the audience what that looks like, then I can like pull that video out and show them. Or if I have something that's backing up whatever I'm talking about, then I can just grab that video and show them. I see a lot of people do that in like keynotes and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the spur of the moment ones too, where somebody asks you and oh, there's a video on this, and then you look it up real quick. I like that. And again, if you're going to give public speaking, you can do put little clips of videos on, and just show the clip of the video, 2-3 minutes. You know, if this were a public speaking, maybe instead of me telling you the Seinfeld joke thing about tells a joke, maybe I try to find it and actually play that clip to the audience. So relying on video can be good. The only problem is anytime you're relying on technology in front of a group, you might have a bit of a problem. So I just always have the backup plan, I guess is what I'm saying there. Alrighty. Next question we have 2 more left, so we'll wrap it up quick. How do you bring the energy to the audience, whether it's in teaching or whether it's a keynote or whether you're running professional development? Jacqueline, how are you bringing the energy?
Well, I think that starts with the topic that you choose to present. I think passion shows through. So it's always good to be really, really excited about what you're talking about because your audience can tell. And of course, everyone would rather listen to someone who is super pumped about whatever they're talking about as opposed to someone that's just rattling off a lecture. So I think enthusiasm and passion for the topic is very important, as well as knowing your topic.
Do you have any routines or anything you do to pump yourself up before speaking?
Yes, every night before I go to bed, I tell myself I'm awesome in the mirror 50 times.
Nice. That is
No,
perfect.
I don't.
Affirmation. Affirmation.
You
Amanda,
rock.
yes, you're awesome, Self. Amanda, what about you? How do you bring the energy?
Well, I got to tell y'all a real quick story about Jacqueline. Last Monday, we were talking about a fifth grade teacher at her campus, and it was about her, and she was like, I love her, and it was all about herself. And so it was fantastic.
Good.
Probably does say, I'm awesome in the mirror.
50 times. 50 times.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
I think, like, in order to get myself prepared, I definitely turn to my PLN, some of the people that I've connected with the most on Twitter that have now become some of my best friends, and say, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing, and let them kind of pep me up. And like Jacqueline said, the passion shines through. For example, today, the workshop I did, I was all over the place with because it's about project-based learning, and I'm super passionate about it. And one of the teachers even said, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had that much energy, because I'm usually very quiet and laid back. And also, I think if you're doing a public speaking event with someone that's equally as passionate, like Jacqueline and I will ramble on to people about certain things, and when we get together, it's just madness.
Sarah, how do you bring it? How do you bring the funk?
All right. Well, one article that I read a long time ago was saying that you can channel your nervousness into enthusiasm, and I try to use that trick. It tends to work pretty well. Um, Also, just involving them as much as possible. Like, for example, a future presentation that I'm going to do, then trying to crowdsource videos right now, kind of going back to your video question, and have people send in like their answers and edit together a video, and maybe the audience will see themselves in that video. And that might be like a cool way to kind of get them hype. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
thing.
you're right. I mean, being nervous is adrenaline going through your body. So energy is energy, whether it's nervous or otherwise. So you're right about that. And feeding off of Amanda and Jacqueline, when I'm in a room with people, I take their energy. I feed off of their energy. So when I see people starting to get amped and pumped and moving around and doing stuff, I get that too. And then I almost get it too much where I have to calm myself down a little because I'll be floating all over the place. But it's true. You feed off of people. And if you can get a co-presenter, it is magic if you two have good chemistry together, where you could just bounce off. The other person could pick up at your pauses. The look will say, all right, it's your turn, and you're just pumped for that whole time. And then when you get done, I mean, you're exhausted and you want to take a nap. But I've been lucky enough to do a couple presentations with Nick Enlick and Adam Laveau, and it's really cool when you get a partner or a couple people together who really know their stuff and are passionate. You feed off of it, definitely. So that's awesome that Amanda and Jacqueline have such a cool duo in their school. All
We
right,
have some smashes you might want to see.
you have what? Oh, dub smashes, definitely, definitely. Love a good dub smash, and I think I did see one or two of yours the other day. All right, here it is. If you could have any dessert, what would it be? It's brain boost time. Right it with your left hip. So here we go. Stand up. If I was a dessert, what would I be? What would I want? I'm gonna go with. Where did I go? Custard. I like my custard. Yes. All right, got my custard in and down. down the hatch. That was a little more difficult than it seemed there, folks. And to be honest, it made me feel a little awkward, just a little bit. But we'll keep those thoughts to myself. Sarah, I hope you weren't doing that. All right,
Yeah, I was a little bit.
nice. Our last question. Now, I'm going to end with a bang, people. All right. What is your view on incorporating humor? How do you incorporate humor? And then there's part B, which is going to set the internet afire. It's going to go wild. So let's start with Sarah. How do you use humor? How do you get humor involved?
Um, how do I use humor? That's a good question. I try to feel the room out and see if it's appropriate. I'm not very funny, but sometimes I get some luck and some laughs here or there. So yeah, I joke, and if I get, if we're vibing, if we're into the same kind of humor, then I'll continue along that thread. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely
mostly
test
people don't
that
get
out a
funny.
little bit. Throw
Yeah.
one out, see how it's received, see what the room's like, and then you could go from there. I like that.
Yep. True.
All right, Jacqueline, what do you do for humor? How do you get humor involved?
Um, now was that why or just a how?
Just how. I mean, you
Okay.
can go with the why. Do you want to go with why? Let's go with why. Who, what, where, when,
Okay.
why, how. I don't care.
We'll
Any of them. As long as humor's in there.
Okay, we'll do a
Better.
little mix of both. Um, yeah, I think humor is important constantly. I think if you're going to do something, you need to enjoy it, especially if it is a training or if it's something that, they probably would not want to be in if they didn't have to. I was at a training last year, and the principal said something like, make sure that your students would buy tickets to your class if they didn't have to go. So I think that whether you are speaking to a person, speaking to a class, or doing a dub smash with Amanda, it needs to be enjoyable. You need to make sure you're having fun because that's what encourages people to want to hear what you have to say, especially if it's something that's not pleasant or if it is a group of teachers and they're not really super excited about having a new concept or a new process put onto them. I think humor is a good segue, and it helps ease the pain of those topics, it ease the force of those topics. Just makes it more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be having fun doing anything. And John Walkup, if you're watching this, professional development, anything, anything you do, you should be having fun in. So I've had many conversations with Mr. Walkup, who I personally love to argue with. I think he's a fantastic foe. And he just thinks that sometimes you have to just suck it up and listen. No, have fun, no matter what you're doing. Have a good time. Ms. Rogers, what are you thinking on humor?
Well, I think that I totally need to meet this John man, and maybe me and Jacqueline need to send him a dub smash. I'm not real sure. We've really caught on to this dub smash movement, but yeah, I think it is about just having fun and showing your audience like they're gonna have fun, they're gonna laugh at you, and there, some of the traditional teachers in the room might be like, "Ah, oh, those kids," but they're gonna think it's funny, and they're gonna smile even though they don't want to. I mean, just like Jacqueline and I put all those dumb dub smashes up on Twitter because we host a district Twitter chat, and we just want to show that we're real people because a lot of times we're viewed as, oh, she's the teacher of the year, and Jacqueline's right there with me, and so it's like, oh, well, they're visionaries. They do things different. We might do things different, but we're also real people.
Yeah, absolutely. I love humor. I love to laugh. It takes a little bit of the suck out of the room, no matter what you're doing. I mean, sometimes we just have to be there. But if we're all together, let's make the best of it. Let's laugh. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's eat or drink something. I try to have food and coffee. All right, here we go. Controversial right now. Amanda, you're going first. I'm putting you right on it.
Oh, I'm all over it.
Sarcasm. Yes or no in the classroom?
Oh, absolutely. And it's even better with third grade because some of them get it and some of them don't. And so it works and it's amazing.
Jacqueline, sarcasm. Yes, no, why?
Both. Yes, in the younger grades, I used to teach second and third because it makes me giggle inside knowing that they have no clue what I'm talking about. In fifth grade, I use sarcasm at myself, but not so much to my students because they're all prepubescent in feeling and the world's out to get me. They're on the corner of angst. So I think that if I were to throw tones at them, it would hurt the relationship.
Sarah, you're shaking your head in agreement. What's going on here?
I am. I do agree. I'm not very good at using sarcasm effectively. I think when I do use it, then it comes off unintentionally too harsh, so I tend to stay away from it.
All right. For me, huge yes to sarcasm. Huge yes. With this caveat, you have to be very careful. You have to know your kids extremely well. You have to make sure your relationship is spot on. If you and a student or somebody in the crowd have a somewhat controversial, not controversial, but like a antagonistic relationship, probably not a good idea to go with sarcasm there. I give out um, questionnaires at the beginning of every year asking what do I need to change to become a better teacher. I ask my students this. Never once has a student wrote, "You're too sarcastic," or "I don't like your humor." If that happens, I would seriously look at myself. If it's ever been a problem where I had a student upset, I would look at changing that. If a parent contacted me and said, "Hey, this is what happened," I would seriously look at that. So for me, I feel like as long as you understand it, you can know when to use it, when not to. You're not using it to make them feel stupid or poke fun at them. More at maybe how they did something or what they said in a jovial nature. Absolutely. From a mean perspective, no. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone, no matter who they are. So it is something that you definitely have to be wary about, and you can't just go crazy and use it all the time. But for me, it's another thing in your arsenal. And why say never? When if you can use it to be a more effective teacher, use it. And again, if you can't, then don't. Like if Jacqueline knows her kids are not ready for it or could take it the wrong way, then don't use it. Absolutely. So I think it's more of an awareness of an individual than it is a yes or no question.
Yeah,
Any,
last year, one of my kids, like at the end of the year, another teacher made a video for me about like what my kids liked most about my class. So she interviewed them all, and one of them was like, "I just love how Miss Rogers is so sarcastic," and she edited out of the video because she's like, "That makes you look horrible."
nice. Aha. And how did that make you feel?
I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm sarcastic, but oh well."
You
Oh,
should have told her, hey, that was a really cool move on your part.
Yeah, I did. I was like, "Man, that was awesome."
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sarah, anything to add?
No, I think you all covered it.
All right, let's see. Are we? Here we go. Never mind, that was it. All right, so our brain boosts are done. Our questions are done. We have one last thing that I'm supposed to say. No, not during. We're done the presentation. At the end of the session, thank everyone for attending. Thank you for attending. All right, next, thank the presenter. Thank myself. All right, next, I'm supposed to hit the stop recording button. Oh no, thank the Phys Ed Summit team for their guidance. Thank you, Phys Ed Summit team. Thank you, SB Chat team, for putting all this together, because there's a bunch of these going on all at once. You and the presenter hit the stop recording button. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Thank you to everybody out on Periscope who watched. There are 2 people now. Appreciate you 2 people staying to the end. And I am going to shut the Periscope off. Bang. I think that stopped the Periscope and the Google Hangout. Again, I would like to thank everybody who's watching this live and anyone going to watch it later. Hit us up on Twitter if you need it. As Schleider Justin, all those wonderful things. Jacqueline, you want to say your Twitter handle so people can follow you?
Yes, sir. It is at roses_ruse.
At roses_ruse. How do you spell ruse?
ROOS.
At roses_ROOS. Amanda,
Yes.
what's the Twitter handle?
At the Edsane T.
At the Edsane T. Very cool. And I'll save our most famous participant for last. Don't get out of here, Sarah. Oh, I don't know. I only have 7,000 people on Edge Match. Oh. And what is your handle, Sarah?
It's at SARAHDATEECHUR.
Sarah the Teacher. And real quick, tell us about EduMatch. Really quick. In 10
I
seconds.
would love to. All right, EduMatch is awesome. Everybody should join us. We are a grassroots movement by teachers, for teachers, learning together, rocking out. It's a movement. Hop on board.
I will tell you what, EduMatch on Voxer is fantastic, on fire. So many passionate people. I learn so much every day. I learn so much I forget what I've learned. That's how much I've learned in there. So I'd like to thank you for putting that together. Jacqueline, really want to thank you for coming out. You didn't know what you were getting yourself into. Hopefully it wasn't too painful. And, of course, Amanda, way to go. I needed one. You're the real leader. You're the first follower. That's the real leader in the video.
You're like that dancing guy, and I come and dance.
That's Amanda. And then once Amanda came in, it just started rolling. So, again, I appreciate you. It's better than me talking to myself. Thank you very much, ladies. I appreciate it. Peace.